करुणा प्रचुर जयानिलो प्रेम धन करुणा प्रचुर हे न प्रभु कथा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर हे न प्रभु कथा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर कहा मोरा स्वरूप रूप कहा सनातन कहा दास रघुनाथ पतित पावन कहा मोरा भट्ट जोग कहा कविराज एक काले कोथा गेला गोरा नटराज पाषाणे कुटिब माथा अनले पशिब गौरांग गुणेर निधि कोथा गेले पाबो शेषब संगीर संगे जे कइल बिहार शेषब संगीर संगे जे कइल विलास शेषांगाना पाया कांदे नरोत्तम दास जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीर वनचारी, यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। गौर गदाधर बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, गौर गदाधर बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। गौर गदाधर बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, गौर गदाधर बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट जयम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON and BBT founder Acharya, Savior of the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Javam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Sadasya Srimati Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Sakshat Vairagya Murti Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Pad ki jai. नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षट गोस्वामी प्रभु वृंद की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जाय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जाय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जाय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाय। अयोध्यापुरी धाम की जाय। द्वारकापुरी धाम की जाय। गंगा माई की जाय। जमुना माई की जाय। भक्ति देवी की जाय। तुलसी महारानी की जाय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जाय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जाय। श्री श्री राधा पार्थ सारथी ललिता विशाखा की जाय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय, श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय, श्री श्री श्रीनिवास गोविंद वेंकटेश बालाजी की जय, इस्कॉन वर्तमान आचार्य वृंद की जय, निताय निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories Srila Prabhupada की जय. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे. Hare Krishna. So I welcome you all to this very special day. I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas present here, especially the senior Vaishnavas whose blessings I seek, specifically that I could speak from the scriptures about Srila Gadadhara Pandit Goswami and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Pad, for your pleasure and for my purification. Kindly forgive me for any intransigencies and mistakes committed due to my own anarthas. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Utapadakabalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangcha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pradamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhai Degirim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarine Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. It's also a privilege for us to welcome amongst us once again His Grace Leela Purushottam Prabhu. It's a great source of inspiration for all of us. And His Grace Radhakant Prabhu. They're both from the Bhaktivedanta Gurukul and International School project, doing great service to society. I don't feel myself very qualified to speak before somebody as erudite and senior as a devotee like him. Still seek his blessings also that I could present something. Today is a very special day as we discussed, and in many ways it is appropriate that these two festivals occur on the same day, the disappearance day of Srila Gadadhara Pandit Goswami and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions elsewhere, and I heard it in a lecture by His Grace Mohan Rupa Prabhu, that Gadadhara Pandit Gosai and Swarup Damodar are still roaming the streets of Navdeep, deeply, madly in search of Gauranga Prema and for Gauranga. But in what form are they roaming? Srila Gadadhara Pandit Gosai in the form of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Swarup Damodar in the form of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babadi Maharaj. So this is a confidential secret that only Acharyas can reveal to us. Much as I realize the fact that I am unqualified to speak about this fact, I thought the connection was very special. So it is only natural that Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanagavarayate. Who is Gaura Shakti? Who is Gaura Shakti? Who is Gaura Shakti? At least today we should speak it very strongly. Who is Gaura Shakti? Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. That is also there, we have heard. That comes in Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's Pranam Mantra. Gaurangira Nija Shakti Pandit Gadadhara. It's his own, Gauranga's own energy, internal potency. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Now you would ordinarily assume that Panchatattva is Gadadhara Srivasadi. So if somebody asks who is Srivas in this, people may end up saying Bhakta Shakti. No, Bhaktakyam is Srivas Pandit and Bhakta Shakti is the topmost devotee, Srimati Radharani. And just like she was Sarva Guna Khani, Krishna Kanta Shiromani, Mahabhava Surupini Radha Thakurani, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj says. She is Mahabhava, she had Mahabhava. She is a personalized form of the Mahabhava. And pretty much so, Srila Gadadhara Pandit, the personification of the love of God, Lord Gauranga. Let's discuss a bit of their auspicious pastimes and life on this planet. Which year did Srila Gadadhara Pandit Gosai appear on this planet? Who can say? Who can say? Which year did he appear? If after Krishna's appearance, Srimati Radharani, so just pretty much after, actually there are various versions, but it is safe to assume that many acharyas confirm that he appeared in 1486 himself. He also appeared in 1486, and he appeared as the son of Madhava Mishra and Ratnavati Devi. He was born in the so-called Kashyapa Gotra, although as Krishna's own internal potency, there is no question of being under any Gotra. But still, for the sake of an earthly pastime, he appeared in Kashyapa Gotra. So, Brahmanas, and he had a younger brother, Bhaninath. Some people mention that in 1498, when he was 12 years old, they shifted from Beleti, where he had appeared, to Navadvip. That is where he was. And as a young boy, Gadadhara Pandit was so detached. He was completely attached to Lord Sri Krishna and his pastimes. He was completely detached from household life. And he was a Naishtika Brahmachari. He remained Brahmachari till the end of his earthly pastimes. So Srila Ishwar Puripad instructed him on his own work, Krishna Leelamrita. So from a very young age, he was connected to Krishna Leela. Then it is known that there was a certain Pandit in Navadvip, was very learned. He was so erudite and scholarly that he could defeat any scholar. What was his name? What was his name? Nimai Pandit. So Nimai Pandit would pick and choose some scholar and defeat them in argument. So one such person was picked up by Gaurang Mahaprabhu was Gadadhara Pandit. He asked him, what is the meaning of liberation? So he used Nyaya and replied, Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. That is what is liberation. So then Nimai Pandit started proving how it is not that. And there are many versions like which happened with Murari Gupta also. Many people say that Nimai Pandit had the ability to completely go counter to the argument that he would present. Argue, counter, argue. Argue, counter, argue. It is called turncoat. On one side you have one thing and another side another. He could actually go against himself. They say that a good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge. But here he is judge and law himself. Mahaprabhu. Vedescha sarver aham eva vidyo. He is the one who is writing the law. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranidam. So he can go back and forth whichever way he wants. But having heard such an erudite exposition by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Nimai Pandit, all the people were wondering if such a person were to take to Krishna's devotion, it will be so wonderful. And sure enough, as part of his pastime, Mahaprabhu went to Gaya and received initiation from Srila Ishwar Puripad. And on his return, he was a completely different man or a completely different God. He is not man, he is God. And at the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari, he exhibited Ashta Sattvika Vikara, ecstatic symptoms, horripilations, being stunned, tears flowing, hair standing in ecstasy, shivering, tremors. Nobody knew what to do when Mahaprabhu was fainting in ecstasy like this. And seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu faints in such a way in ecstasy, or Nimai Pandit then, Krishna Chaitanya, Gadadhara Pandit also fainted in ecstasy because he just couldn't handle it. And on coming back to his normal consciousness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Gadadhara, "You're so fortunate, Gadadhara. Right from childhood, you've been completely imbued with the love of Krishna. You're constantly meditating on the pastimes of Krishna. You're constantly thinking of him. But I am so unfortunate that I have spent my time in such useless activities. It's my great misfortune that having got that great treasure of human life, I've still not made good use of it." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this. Durdaivami drishamiha janina anuragaha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur translated, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur translated Shikshashtakam into Bangla also. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, before he left his body, was listening to this Bangla translation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur of Shikshashtakam. And he himself put his hand on his head. Durdaivami drishamiha janina anuragaha. Now just imagine Mahaprabhu personally is exhibiting this pastime. That I have no taste for Lord Krishna and his pastimes. And you are so fortunate, from childhood you are like this. This shows how the Supreme Lord likes to glorify his own devotees. And the topmost of his devotees is Gadadhara. And he doesn't spare an opportunity to glorify Gadadhara. Now, later on it is mentioned, something very special that we need to understand is Gadadhara Pandit is like when you say Nija Shakti, Gauranger Nija Shakti, Shakti Shakti Matam Abhedaha. They're together all the time. And he was inseparable from childhood. Sachimata would also tell him to keep being with Mahaprabhu and help him in his pastimes. Of course, she didn't say pastimes, but assist him. So we can see that he was constantly with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, he went with him. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had delivered Jagai and Madhai, all the devotees, they engaged in water sports or jalakeli. At that time, Gadadhara Pandit also was with him. When in Jagannath Puri, when they all took bath in Narendra Sarovar, there also Gadadhara Pandit was with him. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Radha Parthasarathi Lalita Vishaka, Sri Gaunitaya, Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his sannyas pastime, Gadadhara Pandit was there also. It is mentioned that when the Mahaprakash Leela was performed at Srivasangan, there also Gadadhara Pandit was there. Elsewhere it is mentioned that when Chand Kazi was converted, there also Gadadhara Pandit was there. And when the Gundicha temple Marjan, which is the exact pastime that happened today, there also Gadadhara Pandit was with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, for glorifying Krishna's pure devotee Bhaktivinoda Thakur and to ensure that devotees can maintain their fast and then serve as well properly, it was decided that we'll perform Gundicha Marjan yesterday here, which we did. So we want to also thank all the wonderful devotees who took part in Gundicha Marjan, especially all the congregation members and all the temple brahmacharis. Gundicha Marjan Maha Mahotsav Ke! As we know, when we perform Gundicha Marjan, our heart is cleansed, just like we cleanse any part of the temple. Shringaratan Mandira Marjanado. And acharyas like Gadadhara Pandit and Bhaktivinoda Thakur give us instructions with which we can live, engage in cleansing of the Lord's own temple and the temple of our heart so that the Lord can reside in it. This is a very special benediction to us. And therefore we should make as much of an advantage out of the opportunity to glorify the Lord's associates, Gauranga Parishads. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. So everyone stopped him. By then devotees had come all the way, all the grahasthas had come from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. They took part in Gundicha Marjan, they took part in Jagannath Rath Yatra, which will be celebrated tomorrow. And then after they had returned, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go back to Vrindavan for some time. And everyone stopped him. King Prataprudra made all arrangements for him to leave finally to Vrindavan. So many of them accompanied him till Chitropala, the river tributary. And Mahaprabhu saw that Gadadhara Pandit was also with him. And he told him that, I have instructed you to remain in Kshetra Sannyasa in Jagannath Puri. That was the instruction for Gadadhara Pandit. That there is Yameshwar Shiva's temple and there is a Yameshwar Tota next to that. Tota means garden in many languages in east and south. Like Srila Madhvacharya's teacher's name was Totan Tillaya, the one who lives in a garden, whose house is in a garden. So Tota means garden. And there Gadadhara Pandit used to reside in Kshetra Sannyasa and worship Tota Gopinath, Gopinath's form. So then Gadadhara Pandit said that, effectively, he said, to hell with my Kshetra Sannyas and my vows to remain in Jagannath Puri. Wherever you are, that is Jagannath Puri. Now this is very tricky. Krishna's devotees always play this trick with Krishna. Nityananda Prabhu did the same thing with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he broke his sannyas rod, what did he say? When he asked him that, you tricked me saying that this is Vrindavan, what did he say? What did Nityananda Prabhu tell Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Yeah, wherever you are, there is Vrindavan. So quite similarly, he also said. So then Mahaprabhu told that if you abandon your Kshetra Sannyas saying this, then people will say this is your fault. Because Pratignya Tava Govinda Name Bhakta Pranashyati. He had personally committed. Krishna says that my devotee shall not perish. So his vow should not be annulled. At the same time, if he breaks his vow, therefore people will blame him. And it is on his instruction that Gadadhara Pandit had decided that I will perform the duties of a Kshetra Sannyasi. So people will blame me. They say it's your fault. Then Gadadhara Pandit said, no. I will take the fault. I will take the fault of the offense with Gopinath. Nobody will blame you. In fact, I'm not coming with you. I'll walk alone. I'm coming there to see Sachimata. Jai Krishna Vaje Shei Bodo Chotur. It's in a very intelligent manner, he said. So then he walked alone for much of the path. Finally they reached Cuttack, which is about 100 kilometers from Jagannath Puri. And there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that you have realized your objective, that your vows of Kshetra Sannyas are not as important as coming with me to Vrindavan. Now that that is done, you will be happy. But will you be happy with what makes you happy but makes me unhappy? Now, if devotees are intelligent, the one whose devotees they are, he's going to be more intelligent. Because he's the source of all knowledge. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you realize the objective already. Now you should do what makes me happy. When you say Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. So similarly we should understand that we should be able to give up our strong positions, our values, our opinions, our stances in Krishna consciousness, or even our services in Krishna consciousness. If it is for the pleasure of Krishna, Guru and the Vaishnavas, we should not hold on to it. That is Nemagraha. If Krishna, Vaishnavas and Guru tell us not to do something, then it is important that we don't hang on to it. If we hang on to it, it is Nishkama Karma Yoga, it is not Bhakti Yoga. Because Nishkama Karma Yoga, you are attached to the act also and the result, not to the result. You are not attached to the result, but you are attached to the action. But in Bhakti Yoga, you are neither attached to the result, nor are you attached to the action. So it's important therefore that we follow the instructions, even if it doesn't make us happy. And Gadadhara Pandit Gosai did that. He continued to serve from Gaurang serve at Tota Gopinath temple. And after Mahaprabhu left this planet from his earthly pastimes, he continued to serve in separation for 11 months. But Srila Narahari Sarkar Thakur says that those days he was giving out sighs, sighs, S-I-G-H-S, like that, leaving out heavy breaths. It was like hot flames when Gadadhara Pandit would live out these sighs. He was like a dead body. And he was keeping himself alive only so that Srinivas Acharya, when he would visit Tota Gopinath, he could give him benedictions and bless him. Srinivas Acharya, they say, has a Shaktya Avesh of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. It's a very, very special mood that he had. One, service in separation. Like Srila Prabhupada's disciples celebrated in the year 2002, 25 years of service in separation. I remember going with the ISKCON Youth Forum team long back then, all of us. With Prabhuji we had gone. It was a wonderful set of glorifications and all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada were glorifying him and how many of them were serving in separation from Srila Prabhupada. Many of them had only heard Srila Prabhupada's lectures or seen him once in their lives, but they were still serving for a very, very long time in separation. This is the essence of Krishna consciousness. Yet, Srila Prabhupada mentions that each disciple should lament for the departure of his spiritual master, just like the wives of the king lament at the departure of the king. And this is pretty much what Gadadhara Pandit was doing. He was doing this and he was doing that also. Nobody can quite understand the rebellious nature of Gadadhara Pandit's devotion. On the one hand, he was so devoted to Mahaprabhu. At the other hand, he was willing to give up his vows, his service, everything for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's association. That is why one of the names of Gauranga is Gadadhar Pran. His Nityanand Pran also is also Gadadhar Pran. And it is mentioned that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his dramas at Chandrasekhar Acharya's house, in those dramas also, Gadadhar Pandit was there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So he had also performed the role of Mother Rukmini in the drama, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he dressed himself in a lady's attire, everyone worshipped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the eternal mother of the whole universe, Jagannatha. At the same time, Gadadhar Pandit also, in one of the dramas, performed the role of a Mataji, one of the goddesses. But we also know that Gadadhar Pandit was not so much of a rebellious devotee in that sense. Like Mother Rukmini, what bhava is it which is not rebellious, which is very subservient and soft? What bhava is performed by gopis? Like there are two Sakis, Lalita Saki, Vishaka Saki. Their mood is compared. Sorry? Yeah, so what is the left? And the right is submissive. So in a submissive mode. He was always in submissive mode, like Mother Rukmini was in submissive mode. And we read in Krishna book when Lord Krishna was jokingly speaking with her, he said that what's the use of marrying somebody like me? I'm just a cowherd boy. I don't have a proper family. I escaped from battle 17 times. I put up a palace in the middle of the ocean. You can have so many more kings who covet you, who can marry you. Why are you with me? And hearing all this, Mother Rukmini fainted. Quite similarly, Vallabha Bhatta used to come and speak in a jocular manner with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. Now Mahaprabhu felt that he was sort of puffed up because of his erudition, his scholarliness. So he kind of kept a cold distance from Vallabha Bhatta and he started glorifying all the other devotees there. But Vallabha Bhatta somehow or the other started visiting Gadadhara Pandit, his house, and used to associate with him. And willy-nilly, Mahaprabhu started keeping a certain coolness from Gadadhara Pandit also. So then Gadadhara got scared. I hope Mahaprabhu is not going to ostracize me. He's not going to remove me from his association. Ostracize means you remove somebody from a certain community or somebody's association. He was worried whether Mahaprabhu is going to do this. So he came and wept bitterly at his lotus feet. Please don't deprive me of your association. And then Mahaprabhu said, I was merely teasing you. You're so surrendered. You're so simple. Your simplicity can conquer everyone. So this is something that is very important, that simple nature of a devotee attracts Krishna. There is a book called Simplicity is Vaishnavism. In fact, a huge endeavor in our lives should be to become simple. It is not simple to be simple because we are sinful. We've got to try our best to become more and more simple. Simple living, high thinking is not just an external manifestation. One of the introspections that we can have today on Gadadhara Pandit Gosai's Disappearance Day is how simple are we becoming? Are we becoming simple in Krishna consciousness, or are we making ourselves increasingly more difficult for devotees to approach us? Are we so difficult that devotees don't want to come to us? Srila Prabhupada was extremely complex in his understanding of philosophy. He knew everything, the deepest subtleties. But in his own personal nature, he was so sweet and simple. The famous pastime everybody knows, when there was an announcement made in the airport that please, all the devotees are requested to clear the lobby. And Prabhupada also got up and left the lobby. This is not you, Prabhupada. Prabhupada is so simple. Another devotee once told him that Prabhupada was getting a little upset with his devotees because they made some big mistake. So why are you getting angry? Just chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada immediately put his hand in his bead bag and started chanting Hare Krishna. Only a simple person can do this. Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple and complex for the crooked and sublime for the pure. So this is the direction for us. Sri Gadadhara Pandit Gosai, as we said, he remained in Jagannath Puri for a very, very long time. He served in separation Tota Gopinath. He was serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the way he wanted, which should be our meditation, that we should always engage in service in this movement the way our spiritual master wants us to, not the way we want us to. Prabhupada wanted us to be independently thoughtful. Prabhupada didn't want us to be independent or whimsically independent. So this difference we should strike in our life, and that's the lesson from Gadadhara Pandit Gosai's life. And in the year 1535, on the Krishna Paksha Jyeshta, he entered Lord Gauranga's pastimes in Puri itself. Srila Gadadhara Pandit Gosai ki. Of course, in the Gauda Ganodesha Deepika, there is a long description of Srila Gadadhara Pandit. Shri Radha Prema Rupa Yapuri Vrindavaneshwari Sastri Gadadharo Gaura Vallabha Pandidakyaha. It is Radha Vrindavaneshwari. There's a long description, huge pranam mantra. Gadadhara Pandidakyaha. It's the same Srimati Radharani who came as Gadadhara Pandit. And ironically, just like Srimati Radharani is the daughter of Rishabhanu, he accepted initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who's non-different from Rishabhanu. Because Mukund Thakur had taken him to the association of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who had come to Navadip. And he was chewing pan, he had nice oiled hair, silken clothes, silken finery, foam, white foam on which he was sitting. There was one golden cup in which spittoon on which he was going to spit the pan. So he was also discussing things. So naturally Gadadhara Pandit was a little bewildered. See, doesn't appear to be a devotee, appears to be like a worldly person. And immediately understanding this mode, this particular shloka was chanted from Srimad Bhagavatam. Who chanted this shloka? Who chanted this shloka? Who really chanted this shloka? Originally? Yeah. This was a shloka, one of the shlokas which is, obviously Shukadeva Goswami has narrated this particular shloka. Aho bakiyam stanakala kotam jigam se apaya tatata sadvi. And then he goes on to say, lebe gatim datruchitam, dhatruyuchitam. You awarded the position of midwife. Dhatruyuchitam, lebe gatim. That is the deliverance you gave to Putana. Tatho anyam. So then he says, Kama dayalum. Who else is as merciful as you? Sharanam Vrajema, take his shelter. Where take his shelter? Who else can I take shelter of? Who's more merciful than you? You awarded the position of midwife to that demoness, a sadhu, who applied poison, kalakutam, stana kalakutam. And yet because she gave you milk, made you suckle, you awarded the position of midwife. You're so merciful. And when you heard this particular shloka, the Ashta Sattvika Vikaras started manifesting in Pundarik Vidyanatha. He fell down on the floor and started rolling in ecstasy, and he started crying in lamentation. Why am I not getting this mercy from you? Why am I deprived of this mercy from you? Extreme lamentation. So having seen this, he was completely bewildered. Such an exalted devotee, and he felt immediately remorse that I offended this devotee. The lesson that we have from this particular pastime is sitting with us may be a devotee far purer than us. Let us not judge them on the basis of external appearance. We don't know who is more advanced than us. We may unknowingly or knowingly offend the Vaishnavas around us, thinking that hey, this guy is just something. He is not a Vaishnava. Sometimes in Vaishnava communities, this kind of conversation comes up that he is not a Vaishnava. Look at his behavior. But we really don't know. I read this recently by a Buddhist scholar that one of the symptoms of love is that you don't judge. Love means you don't judge. Whether it is somebody senior to you, somebody equal to you, or somebody junior to you. Don't judge. So this is something that we have to be very careful about in Krishna consciousness. And Gadadhara Pandit immediately repented. That's the other thing. Even by chance we judge somebody and we commit an offense, we should immediately repent. There should be paschatapa. And his repentance was in the form of accepting initiation from Pundarik Vidyanatha, which he did. Later on, it is also mentioned that due to some reasons, he felt that he was not able to meditate on the meanings of the Gayatri that he got. So, in a transcendentally tricky way, he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reinitiate him into the mantra. And Mahaprabhu told that, no, you have to get the mantra from the person from whom you actually received it. So, there are several lessons from Gadadhara Pandit Goswami's life. One, that one has to be simple. Two, that one has to serve in separation. Three, that one should be willing to sacrifice one's vows and services for the sake of Guru and Vaishnavas as per their instruction. And four, one should never judge somebody from the external. And five, even if we do, we should repent. There are several other lessons, but at least today we should pray to Srila Gadadhara Pandit Gosai that we should also be serving inseparably from our Guru and Srila Prabhupada and the deities, inseparably, yet in separation, the feeling of separation wherever we are. This is very important for us. Srila Gadadhara Pandit Gosai Tirobhav Titi Mahotsav Ki Jai. I've been told by His Grace Sadhu Hridaya Prabhu that I can go on and speak for some more time, but I don't have the capability to speak for too long. I'll speak a little bit more about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur because, really speaking, he is the father of the Krishna consciousness movement. Can go on till 9:30? 30. Thanks. So, the only problem about speaking till 9:30 on a fasting day is if you are the speaker. If you're the speaker, there is a problem because then you got to spend a little extra energy. I'll just take permission to have a little bit of water. I better not drink more water. So we'll... Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Kedarnath Datta is one of the earliest civil servants of Indian history. You will find his name in the list of Indian civil servants. He appeared in 1838 And he left this planet in the year 1914, just before the First World War, I think. He was a revolutionary preacher, and in many senses, he prophesied many things which have come true. Srila Prabhupada conclusively confirms that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent forth the first books in English about Sri Chaitanya, his life and his teachings, to Canada and the West. He had sent his books for comments to Ralph Waldo Emerson and Reinhold Rost, who were Western scholars. And they commented very positively about him. And his books, this book especially, Sri Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, his teachings and precepts and his life, this was sent to Canada and several universities, including McGill University. And devotees later discovered Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book in that university. Ironically, it's the same university in which Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj also graduated from his MBA course there. And ironically, that was the same year in 1896 that Srila Prabhupada appeared. So this is also scientific. This whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, which is the Krishna consciousness movement, is completely scientific. It's all interlinked and connected. Nothing is a coincidence in this. It's a very, very special coincidence this. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur demonstrated by his personal life, by his personal example, the amount of character, the perseverance, how a Grihastha could live in Grihastha ashram and yet at the same time set an example. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur performed his life as a Grihastha to preach so that we can all relate to him. To have 14 children, 13 from one marriage and one another prasad from the first marriage. And many of them exalted Vaishnavas, including Bimala Prasad, who would later on become Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Such exalted Vaishnava. He was so exalted in his qualities that the editor of Amrit Bazar Patrika, who was his confidential friend for some time, and he got inspired by him, said that I don't know much about the 6 Goswamis. I haven't seen them. I haven't met them. But I know you're the 7th Goswami. And that's the book by Rupa Vilas Prabhu. It's called 7th Goswami, about the life and teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If you have the time, some of you may go through the book today. It's a very good meditation to have. The 7th Goswami. We have to think about this, that the Goswamis abandoned their external successful life in government service to serve the Supreme Lord as renunciates. Tektva Turnam Ashesha Mandalapatim Shrenim Sada Tuchavat. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur went a step further, because as time progresses, levels of detachment also reduce, this Kali Yuga. So for such people, Bhaktivinoda Thakur set an example. How being within a householder life, one can set an example as a renunciate and as a devotee of the Lord. He rose to become practically the highest position attainable for an Indian in the British government service, that of a magistrate. Yet, he was completely fixed up in his devotion. Whether it's preaching, sadhana, or his writings, he wrote and translated over 100 books and several poems. The Jaya Radha Madhav Kunja Bihari bhajan that we sang today was also written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we have to understand that from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life, that no matter whatever be our ashram, we have to first of all understand it is an ashram. It is Grihastha ashram. Ashram means taking ashraya of the Archa Vigraha and the Ashraya Vigraha. Archa Vigraha is Krishna, Ashraya Vigraha is Guru. To take their shelter or Ashraya is when we live in an ashrama. So, Krishna would not have created 4 ashramas, he would have created just 3 ashramas. If Grihastha ashram is not as important or as relevant as the other ashramas. The purpose of creating 4 ashramas is to see how each jiva, as per his propensity, could progressively purify himself in order to perform pure devotional service. And there are many indications. You could see that in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own, among his Parshadas, 3 out of 5 Panchatattva, in the Panchatattva, were Grihasthas. And Mahaprabhu himself was initially in Grihastha ashram. Only Gadadhara Pandit was an Aishtika Brahmachari. And so many of Mahaprabhu's associates were Grihasthas. And yet, we hear Mahaprabhu Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan. How is it possible there can be Vairagya Pradhan and so many of them are householders? That's something that we have to meditate on. So as Grihasthas, it is eminently possible to be in Vairagya. To have Vairagya, one should just have Raga for Krishna. It is attachment to Krishna that creates detachment from matter. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate. Srila Prabhupada mentions in several places that especially in the 13th chapter, verses number 8 to 12 in Bhagavad Gita, he clearly comments how as a householder, if one can engage one's wife and children in Krishna consciousness, families can get together, worship the deities, sit and chant together, worship the deities, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and honor Krishna Prasadam, and see if possible, wherever possible, serve the Lord and preach, then there is no problem. One can remain in Grihastha ashram all in one's life. So it's very clear. Grihastha ashram or Brahmachari ashram, all these ashramas are increasingly opportunities to perform bhakti. Therefore, those who are in Grihastha ashram should of course understand that their ashram is as important as the other 3 ashramas. But they should also understand that what separates a Grihastha from a Grihamedi is the presence of Krishna in the ashram. There is even an ISKCON congregation ministry book called The Third Partner, where there is a husband, the wife and Krishna at the center. So Krishna has to be at the center. Just like in ISKCON also, Krishna is somewhere at the center. Even the word ISKCON. And each ISKCON temple is called a center. There is Krishna at the center. Krishna was born in the womb of ISKCON. So those who are ISKCON devotees should increasingly try to Krishnaize their lives. We are told, Krishnaize. There is nothing called material life. Or there is nothing called spiritual life. We are fundamentally spiritual entities who are in a material body. Our success in spiritual life depends on how much we spiritualize our life. How much we spiritualize our life. Krishna consciousness means to be conscious of Krishna's presence at every point of life. And that is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur was doing. So that I don't miss out on this opportunity, I just wanted to see if, first I will read this so that I don't miss out, because I remember the last time there was a class, I didn't get time to read this particular part. So I want to start with that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son Lalita Prasad recalls Bhaktivinoda Thakur's schedule. He used to keep a pocket watch. You would take out and constantly look at the watch. So one of the greatest qualities of elevated devotees is that they are very conscious of time. Srila Prabhupada was forever conscious of time. That is why we can see in ISKCON temples why we lay so much stress on punctuality. And if sometimes the altar is opened late due to some reason, the story is always different when you are on the other side of the altar. So please let us all give some time to altar service also. All the Brahmanas, please find time to go and serve in the altar. When we serve in the altar, we can see what are the difficulties of maintaining these instructions of Guru that one has to be punctual. And yet we should still maintain the levels of punctuality. And see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur's schedule was. He would rest in the evening at 7:30 to 8 p.m. Now, when I first saw this, I was completely shocked. Because there were many times in my corporate career when I would start work at 7:30 p.m. And here was the time he was resting. Yet he would get up at 10 p.m. Just 2.5 hours of rest. He would, in the light of an oil lamp, start writing. And Srila Prabhupada followed exactly that. Go to rest around this time, wake up late at night and start writing. If we want to study Srila Prabhupada books or if we want to read Srila Prabhupada books, just imagine the amount of effort they took to write. They didn't take as long to write these books as we are taking to read their books. Srila Prabhupada took just a period of 11 years to translate and write all these books. Maybe 1 or 2 books which we wrote before formation of ISKCON. First canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and Easy Journey to Other Planets. But rest of all these books he wrote after he got into ISKCON. And many of us have spent probably more than 11 years in ISKCON. We've still not read all those books. So today on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Disappearance Day, we should also try to take a sankalpa that we should read Srila Prabhupada's books, which he wrote so painstakingly, in line with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's teachings and his direction. And at 4 a.m., he would rest. That we also do many times. We would rest at 4 a.m. But the difference was he would get up at 4:30. He would get up at 4:30, wash his hands and face and chant the Hare Krishna Mantra Japa. Then after 7 o'clock or so in the morning, he would start writing letters because he had to write letters. He had to deal with big people, official and personal level. He was a social luminary. He was part of the Bhadralok, as they say. In Bengal, there was a whole set of people called Bhadralok in the early 1800s who had arisen. Many of them had belonged to the Kayastha community. They were influenced by the ideas of West and tried to see how can we marry the teachings of the West in an Indian context and vice versa. So then you had all these people like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Brahma Samaj, all those things, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. They were all part of the Bhadralok. Many people embraced Christianity because they were influenced by the West. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't. He tried to go deeper. Kedarnath Datta. He tried to go deeper into Sanatana Dharma. He even learned from the Unitarian Church the teachings of Christianity. He studied the Quran also. And somewhere later, around the 1860s or so, he got completely in touch with Chaitanya Vaishnavism after his marriage. At the age of 12, he got married. And later on, after the birth of his first child, his first wife passed away. Then he married Bhagavati Devi later, who became mother to 13 of his children, including Bimla Prasad. So, he was doing so much. From 7:30 he would read, 7:30 to 8:30. So no matter how busy he was, he would still read. We have to do this. Srila Prabhupada said, I read my own books. So we've got to find a way to introduce this program into our lives. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Damodar Maharaj once told me that if you don't study Srila Prabhupada books every day, you're violating a regulative principle. It's so scary when we actually don't Srila Prabhupada's books. Because to come into the Krishna consciousness movement in the line with Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his teachings, it is easy because it's so attractive. But to stay in the Krishna consciousness movement, we need the philosophy. Because when there are challenges to our Krishna consciousness, it is the philosophy that will keep us alive. Otherwise, everything looks wonderful when we come into Krishna consciousness. Devotees are beautiful. Everybody is honoring prasadam. The prasadam is wonderful. Deity worship is so gorgeous. But as we spend years and years in the Krishna consciousness movement, due to many conditionings that we acquire in the course of our devotion and which we carry from outside devotion, we start judging the situation and devotees. When we start judging, the love goes away from our heart. And when there is no love, there is envy. And when there is envy, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for us to develop love for Krishna, because no parent would like a person who hates his children or who is envious of his children. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur taught us by example that we need philosophy in our life. Philos means love and sophos means knowledge. And we have to get this knowledge. We should have the love for this transcendental knowledge. Divya Jnanam. When we get a Diksha, that is what it means. Divya Jnanam yatho dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam. The Divya Jnanam is received, and that comes to study. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur set an example through his life of writing and reading. And at 8:30 he would receive guests, and he would or continue to read. So it's not like he would close the door and say, nobody should disturb me now, I'm reading. There are times when he had to meet guests, he would meet guests. He was flexible. So this is another learning from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life. As preachers and leaders, we should be strict yet flexible. Like Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj says that one should be uncompromising in principle, but flexible in presentation. And 9:30 to 9:45 he would take a short rest. Take rest, as they say in ISKCON. In ISKCON we take rest, we take bath. It's an Indianized version of what we do. But he would rest, and then he would have his morning bath around 9:45. Then he would have half a quart of milk, a couple of chapatis and some fruits. Then he would go to the court in a carriage, and it is mentioned that he would finish off all his work so fast in probably 40%, 30-40% of the time that others would take. As somebody who has some services in this ISKCON's legal office, I can tell you that there are cases in our courts which are from the 1900s, which have not been resolved. Hundreds and hundreds of moth-eaten files. Now the courts are trying to go paperless. They're converting many of these into soft copy form. And we could see that some cases are so old, the papers are all collapsing. That means the judges who are not devotees are not able to take the right kind of judgment, or the process does not allow them to judge properly. And that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur's dream was that the day should come when there should be people going to the court in a magistrate's dress wearing tilak. And there are devotees today who are lawyers who go to court with their tilak. It is there. It's started in some sense. And there are some magistrates who are devotees, district magistrates. We know of a few judges who are devotees who are helping ISKCON also in understanding law and in interpreting law in some situations. So then he would begin the court and take a break at 1 o'clock, 3 hours. Then he would go back, go home, have some lunch, etc. He would come back again at 2 to 5, he will again work. So 3 plus 3, 6 hours official service. Courts till date today work only 6 hours officially. That's the rule. It's something that started from the British rule time. But the judges would go home and then again they would have to study files. A lot of files. It's a lot of hard work. So just imagine, the word judge is used for a person who examines everything very thoroughly and examines all people very thoroughly before judging. So just imagine, as devotees who are to be scared of Vaishnava Aparadha, how much thoroughly should we examine each person? And especially how much thoroughly should one examine oneself? Yogyata bichare kichu nahi pai. Then shall we judge? And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote so many poems about humility. So many poems. He was always accountable to keeping his time and meeting people and everyone. So this was a very special lifestyle of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Like we said, he wrote several books. He wrote Kalyana Kalpatavi, Jaiva Dharma, Harinam Chintamani. He commented on several books, including Srimad Bhagavatam. He gave his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He commented on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is his bhashya called? Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhashya? Amrita Prabha bhashya. And Srila Prabhupada quotes from that as well as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's bhashya. So he had such great contributions to make in form of that. I want to spend 5 minutes from his book, Prema Pradeepa. We even sang a bhajan yesterday. Amangala Prabhu sang that Mama Mana Mandire. Part of the bhajan goes as Tumi Prema Pradeeper Artir Tomar. Yasho Nanda Kumar. Prema Pradeep. It's about Prema Pradeep. So in that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur points out 6 essential elements of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. It's important for all of us to know. Apart from this, he had also written the Amnaya Sutra, where he presents from Baldev Vidyabhushan's book and Prameya Ratnavali, and also from Madhvacharya's teachings, the entire Gaudiya philosophy in 10 tenets. 10 tenets he mentions. Amnaya Praha Hariha Paramam. The whole thing he goes on, and the 6 teachings that he mentions in Prema Pradeepa are this. First one, the Supreme Lord is one without a second. Same thing, Hariha Paramam. Prema Bhaktim Rasabdim. He is the source of everything. He possesses all transcendental potencies and controls all laws. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That is what he is. This is the first philosophy. Krishna is God. We got to accept that. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that we should at least theoretically accept that Krishna is God in order for us to understand his teachings. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's first philosophy in Prema Pradeepa is the Supreme Lord is one without a second. Eko bahunamyo vidadati kaman. He is that one which maintains the other. Now the second one. The Supreme Lord has an exquisitely beautiful, all auspicious form. Bhuvana Mangala Tumi Bhuvanerapati. We talk about Mangala Arati. Why? Because the Lord makes everything auspicious. One of the qualities of devotion is Shubhada. It bestows all auspiciousness. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions here, in him are present all contradictions simultaneously. Anoraniyan Mahator Mahiyan. Srila Jiva Goswami mentions in his Shat Sandarbha, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur deeply studied Shat Sandarbha early in his career, devotional career. He says that if the word Bhagavan is used for Krishna, there should be simultaneous existence of contradictions in him. There should be inconceivability in him. If inconceivability is taken away from the word Bhagavan, he is not Bhagavan. There has to be contradictions in him. So seemingly external way, these contradictions coexist. He has a form, although he is all pervading. Goloka eva nevasyat akhilatma bhutau. Is present in Goloka, yet is all pervading. So it's a contradiction that can simultaneously coexist only in Krishna. Though he is beautiful, he is so beautiful, but mundane senses cannot perceive him. He is apaurushaya. He is adhokshaja. We cannot perceive him through the senses. That is why when Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayer for prasadam prayers, we know. What is that? Jodendriya Tahekal. I don't think we should be chanting this prayer right now. But Jodendriya Tahekal. All our indriyas are jada. Through those we cannot perceive the Supreme Lord. And there Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna Boda Doyamai. Because some of us may not even take darshan of the Lord. Come to the temple and have darshan. So Krishna is present in the form of prasadam, food for life, or Govindas, or whichever way. Through Govindas, we may know Govinda. We must not just see that the restaurant is called Govinda apostrophe S. It means it belongs to Govinda. It's Govinda's prasadam. So Krishna so mercifully is coming through all these forms. Though he is he cannot be perceived through the senses. His Archa Vigraha is present in his wonderful form through that. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur performed deity worship himself. He went from house to house to beg money and build a Gaur Gadadhara temple at Yoga Peeth. This Yoga Peeth he identified with the guidance of Gaura Avirbhava Bhumestam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha, his Shiksha Guru, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. His initiating Guru was Bipin Bihari Goswami. And it is not like he was disrespectful to Bipin Bihari Goswami. When this Yoga Peeth temple was built, he had invited Bipin Bihari Goswami also to be there. And when he was staying at Bhakti Bhavan in Kolkata, they had excavated, the construction said they found a Kurma Shila. And this Kurma Shila he gave to Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj and taught him how to worship the Kurma Shila. So all our acharyas lay a lot of stress on not just Sankirtan, on deity worship also. Very important for us. Deity worship is a very positive catalyst to chanting the holy name. All of us who are initiated Brahmanas must therefore spend some time in worshipping the deities and helping in the movement. The third, both the inanimate and animate are born from his energies, from Krishna's energies. He is creator, maintainer and destroyer or annihilator. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. Yes, it is Durga. But under whose instruction does he Srishti Sthiti Pralaya? Ichana Rupamapi Yasya Cha Cheshtatesa. It is as per the desire of Govinda that she creates, annihilates and destroys. Annihilates and maintains before that. So this is a very important philosophy that Krishna's, all the inanimate and animate forms are all born from him. Jada, Chetana, everything is born from him. Fourth, the living entity's constitution is spiritual. But by the Lord's desire, Tad Binnam Sham Shatta Bhavam Prakriti Sukalitam Tad Vimuktasya Bhavan. There are liberated entities and there are conditioned entities. The path of jnana and karma is full of hardships. Klesho adhikatarastesham. It's very, very difficult. Therefore, when jnana and karma serve the purpose of bhakti, there is no fault. Because bhakti is without any fault. Like the Sri Vaishnavism philosophy, Vishishtadvaita says, talks about the same thing. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the same philosophy from Sri Vaishnavism. Ananya bhakti, which is jnana karma the anavritam, which is bereft of jnana and karma. So this is another teaching. And the last teaching is the living entity's duty is to associate with sadhus and discuss devotional service. So through this we will be able to understand the Supreme Lord and all his forms. There are hundreds of pastimes of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur which we can read up and we know of also. Where because he had such unstinted faith in Krishna, that fake god called Bishkishan, Phalgu Bhagavan, some people say, he had a fake Brahma and fake Shiva for company. He would exploit unknowing poor public that he was God. So when Mr. Renshaw of the British government sent him as magistrate to look into it, he asked him, why are you doing all this? He said, why don't you come to Jagannath Puri? He said, oh, that wooden form. And he got so angry. He got 3 constables and some 72 policemen to guard him after arresting him, kept him in jail. The trial went on for 18 days. And on the 6th day, his daughter Kadambini, I think she fell ill, almost to the point of dying. And closer to the 18th day when he was going to write the judgment, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself contracted the same illness. Everybody said, what is the use? Just leave it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, let everyone die, every one of us die. But we shall not allow this, we shall make this person get his punishment. And finally he wrote the judgment for 18 months rigorous imprisonment for going against the government, political conspiracy. Because he said, I will replace the British government. So he was a soft Vaishnava. He would beg, go from house to house, beg 1 rupee each. So much so he got angry with his wife and wouldn't talk to her for several days. when she took 10 rupees from somebody. See, you deprived 9 people from serving Krishna. But at the same time, for Krishna's service, he was uncompromising. Mridu bhave dhrida krite. Yet both. He punished this person severely. And elsewhere, he had so much faith in Srimad Bhagavatam that he had a reading of Srimad Bhagavatam in front of a tree, and the ghost that was inhabiting the tree, which would make people give wrong judgments, died along with the tree. So if we want to kill ghosts, you should read Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very, very important. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was standing on, he got instruction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally that you should write books about me and you should glorify me. When he was in Maharani Dharmashala, he saw along with his son, Lalita Prasad, he saw from a distance that there was a glowing, effulgent mansion. And the next Monday he went there to see. At night he had a vision of the entire Panchatattva there. And then he understood by the growth of a lot of Tulsi plants there, and later by the expert instruction of Jagannath Das Bahadur Maharaj, this is Yoga Peeth. So just imagine the contributions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He gave us Lord Chaitanya in one sense. Yoga Peeth he gave. He gave us deity worship. Gaur Gadadhara worship he gave us, which is considered even higher than Radha Krishna worship, which also we are not doing. We are doing Lakshmi Narayan worship effectively in temples, Prabhupada said. Gaur Gadadhara worship is considered even higher. He gave us that. He gave us the concept of Namahatta, the marketplace of the holy name, just like Nityananda Prabhu did. He prophesied that there will come a temple where devotees from white skin and black skin from Africa, Germany, England will come and sing and chant Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. And the same thing happened. And he mentioned that there will be Rath Yatra happening in the middle of Trafalgar Square, and it happened. London, Trafalgar Square is in London, the topmost, busiest street. So Acharyas also forecast many things which come true because they're closer to Krishna. Krishna talks to them from their heart. Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokyanti. Krishna personally speaks from their heart. He said there will soon come a personality who will preach the teachings of Lord Chaitanya across the world. And that is our Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. And so we know that Srila Prabhupada's movement is completely in line with Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the Acharyas. Because we have several phases of Krishna Bhakti. After Dwapar Yuga, the Alvars came. And at the end of Dwapar Yuga, the Alvars came. After some time, there was a huge gap. Then Sripad Ramanujacharya came. Then Sripad Madhvacharya and Nimbarkacharya came. Vishnu Swami had come at the beginning of, Adi Vishnu Swami had come at the end of Dwapar Yuga. Then the other two Vishnu Swamis came around the same time. And around 15th century, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came to inaugurate Bhakti, re-inaugurate Bhakti. And in his Navdeep Dham Mahatmya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about all these Acharyas having darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how he is Sabha Avatara Sara Shiromani, how he has started everything. And then came a phase when there was a small gap. Then again came Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya. The 6 Goswamis were there. They were almost contemporaries of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya and Shamanand Pandit. They preached for some time. Then again there was a gap. Then there was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan. And again there was a gap. And then came Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So such a great contributor. He has given us so much. And his pastimes also demonstrate how he was so committed. His wife was also so committed. His children were all, most of them, devotees. He was an exemplary householder, an exemplary professional when he was working. And when he was about to leave his body, he went into Nirjan Bhajan. Swalikita Jivani, in his autobiography, he's written his autobiography also. He talks about his life. There is something interesting that I'd like to read and conclude. She's that. He died in Kolkata on 23rd June 1914 at the age 75. So he lived till 75 years old. There is an English saying which says, whom God loves dies young. There is no such rule. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj lived till 140 years. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur lived till 75 years. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj also lived up to like the late 60s. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur lived till mid 60s. Srila Prabhupada himself lived till the age of nearly 80, 81. So our contemporary Acharya is also going on. They're 70 plus and they're preaching. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating the Vyas Puja of Srila Radha Govind Das Goswami Maharaj, who along with Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, we see there physically they are facing such challenges, yet they are carrying forward Bhaktivinoda Thakur's movement. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also was paralyzed from one side towards the end of his life. And we know that Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Srila Radha Govind Maharaj also have a similar problem. But they have not stopped chanting Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should take shelter of all these contemporary acharyas, to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, in order to take shelter of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so that we can take shelter of Srila Gadadhara Das Goswami, Gadadhara Pandit Goswami, and not Gadadhara Das Goswami, that's a different person, Gadadhara Pandit Goswami, and thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is not different from Radha Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Tirobhav Titi Maha Mahotsav ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande. We have time. If some senior Vaishnavas would like to speak, they can speak, because it's fasting till noon. And this is a good thing to do instead of fasting.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, you have a mic.
धन्यवाद. ज़्यादा समय नहीं लूँगा. बहुत अच्छा बताया प्रभु जी ने. तो गदाधर पंडित के बारे में थोड़ी चर्चा है कि गदाधर पंडित ने भी शरीर नहीं छोड़ा. शरीर उनका शरीर टोटा गोपीनाथ के अर्चा विग्रह में समा गया. चैतन्य महाप्रभु भी शरीर सहित टोटा गोपीनाथ के अर्चा विग्रह में समा गए. 48 वर्ष की अवस्था में चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने इस पृथ्वी को त्यागा. और 48 वर्ष की अवस्था में ये भी चैतन्य महाप्रभु के ही बाद जल्दी ही उन्होंने भी इस पृथ्वी को त्यागा. तो 48 साल की अवस्था में, 48 वर्ष की अवस्था में चैतन्य महाप्रभु तो बिल्कुल जो है तरुण थे, लेकिन चैतन्य महाप्रभु के जाने के बाद इनकी अवस्था 48 साल में ही बिल्कुल वृद्ध हो गए, झुक गया, शरीर झुक गया. और टोटा गोपीनाथ को जो है माला नहीं पहना पाते. तो टोटा गोपीनाथ जो है इनकी माला प्राप्त करने के लिए बैठ गए कि तुम्हें अगर परेशानी होती तो मैं बैठ जाता हूँ. तो एक अर्चा विग्रह भगवान कृष्ण का ऐसा है जो बैठा हुआ है. ये बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है. जो लोग मानते हैं भाई पत्थर है, ये मूर्ति पत्थर है ना, वहाँ जा कर के देखो कि मतलब स्वयं भगवान जो है मतलब बैठे टोटा गोपीनाथ के रूप में. और भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर को जो सप्तम गोस्वामी कहा जाता है, तो इसका एक कारण ये भी है कि उन्होंने चैतन्य महाप्रभु का जो जन्म स्थान है वो खोजा, आविर्भाव. 6 गोस्वामियों ने भी जो है ब्रज के जो है बहुत से लीलाएं स्थानों को खोजा जो लुप्त हो गए थे. और भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर ने एक कार्य किया, इसी से ही उनको जो है इतना बड़ा जो है योगदान माना जाता है. बहुत बड़ा योगदान है कि चैतन्य महाप्रभु का जो है आविर्भाव स्थान उन्होंने खोजा, क्योंकि वो बहुत स्थान ऐसे हो गए थे कि लोगों ने घोषित कर दिया था कि ये चैतन्य महाप्रभु जन्म स्थान नहीं है, इधर पैसा चढ़ाओ. तो बहुत से लोग हैं जो कि पैसा के लोभ में चैतन्य महाप्रभु जन्म स्थान को घोषित कर रहे थे. और जो यात्री लोग थे वो जाते थे तो उनको समझ नहीं आता कि कौन सा जन्म स्थान है. कोई जन्म स्थान सही नहीं था. भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर ने जो जन्म स्थान खोजा तो बड़े आश्चर्य के जो है आश्चर्यजनक तरीके से खोजा और उसको जो है स्थापित किया. तो इसलिए उनको 7वें गोस्वामी कहा जाता है. श्रील भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर तिरुभाव तिथि महामहोत्सव की, श्री गदाधर पंडित तिरुभाव तिथि महामहोत्सव की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की.
Prabhuji, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Actually, he is a very inspiring source for the people who are householders. इसी हम लोग देखते हैं कि जो गृहस्थ हैं उनके लिए बड़ी तपस्या रहती है। पहली बात तो इस कलयुग में अपने आप को भक्त बनाना कितना कठिन काम है। फिर अगर एक्स्ट्रा लगेज हो किसी के पास तो उसकी यात्रा बहुत कठिन हो जाती है। और भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर के पास तो 14 बच्चे थे, 1 2 3 4 नहीं, तो एक बहुत हिस्टोरिकल काम था। और इतना ही नहीं, उनका जो सामाजिक स्तर था बहुत ऊंचा था। वो मजिस्ट्रेट थे और ब्रिटिश समय में जो मजिस्ट्रेट होता था उनकी बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी होती थी। बहुत से मुकदमे, हर मुकदमों को स्टडी करके तैयार करके जाते थे और साधना में भी कोई कंप्रोमाइज नहीं करते थे। बच्चों को भी अपना समय देते थे। इसलिए उनका जो समय का प्रयोग था, जैसा कि प्रभु जी पढ़ रहे थे, उनका जो आराम करने का समय था कितना कम था। किसी भी कीमत पर उन्होंने पढ़ने में भी कंप्रोमाइज नहीं की। उनका जो डेली का पाठ था रोज अध्ययन करते थे। किसी भी कारण से उन्होंने अपने जप में समझौता नहीं किया। तो मतलब उनका जो जीवन है वह एक आचार्य का जीवन है, जो कि सारे सिद्धांतों को उन्होंने जी करके दिखाया। केवल प्रचार नहीं किया बल्कि उन्होंने स्वयं अपने ऊपर उसको आरोपित करके दिखाया। इसलिए आज का दिन बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। हम लोग उनकी शरण लें। ऐसा नहीं है कि केवल हाउस होल्डर ही, वो तो एक बहुत बड़े आदर्श व्यक्तित्व है हर व्यक्ति के लिए जो वैष्णव परंपरा में है। गौड़ीय वैष्णव परंपरा में प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे कि इस्कॉन के फाउंडर फादर जो है भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर है। असली फाउंडर फादर वही है। इस्कॉन के फाउंडर आचार्य जैसे प्रभुपाद जी हैं, तो ही इज ए फाउंडर फादर फॉर दिस मूवमेंट। तो आज के दिन हम उनसे प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हम लोगों को उनकी कृपा प्राप्त हो, हम उनके बताए हुए मार्ग पर चल सकें। श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर तिरुभाव दिवस महामहोत्सव की